All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Max is just giving me the double middle finger right now. Things are going well. Max is out in Utah having
Yes,
fun.
yes. We are out snowboarding in Park City, and I'm still making time to look at your ugly face out here. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is just the sweetest little thing I've ever heard.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, dude, what's going on? How's the bankroll challenge going?
it's good. On Monday I just had an 8K session. I won 8,135. And I wasn't even like I even left money on the table, not like from a huge punt or anything, but just I didn't even win a tournament. I didn't even finish top two in any tournaments. So
I mean, I was watching some of it before I logged off, but I saw that you in the 2-5 game you won quite a few buy-ins, and then in the tournament you were like I saw a couple hands where you were like 2 of 10 or 2 of 9 at the final table, and
yeah,
then you lost a flip under the gun jams 8 bigs. You call it off with ace king suited, you lose to queens, and
yeah.
then another one, another hand where you had like
I had a
nine,
combo
10,
draw and
the
missed.
9, 10 of
Yeah.
diamonds, I think, where you flopped a flush draw, turned a gutter. He bet 6 bigs on the turn. And then you said after the hand, you said, "Man, I don't know if I have implied value." And I thought about that afterwards. And I agree with you because it's like
Yeah, like
if a diamond comes, he's not going to, if you check, because he was in position. If a diamond
even
comes, he would
river
check
two
back.
pair with ace jack and he didn't bet.
Yeah, he didn't
Like
even
so
bet
he's not gonna bet if I river the straight either. So I think I
that.
should just fold turn maybe.
I agree with you. I wonder though, check this out. So say you hit the diamond on the river, say it was a jack of diamonds, is he just gonna fold? He probably would. If you hit
If
the
I
eight,
lead.
yeah, if you donk on the river, or if you hit the 8 on the river, which would have gave you the straight and you donked, would he have folded top pair? I mean, there's a lot of ICM implications there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't hate the call in the turn. So, well, for whoever didn't see it, it didn't work out. He bricked the river, and so it just made you short. And I didn't see what happened past that point, really. But
Yeah, I got short. I doubled up. I was 8 out of 8. I doubled up. I ended up getting six for like 3,700. First place was 18K.
that's
So
sick. Yeah,
there
was
was a
that
chance at a really big score.
that seems really top heavy. Am I wrong?
Not really. It's a little top heavy. I
Okay.
mean,
What was
fifth
ninth
was like a
place?
little over 5K. Fourth was seven something. Third was nine something.
What
So
was
third was
ninth? Do you remember?
1,400 something.
1,400. Yeah, because I mean, ninth should typically be about 10% of what first is. So I
Yeah.
guess
Anyway, it,
1,800. Yeah.
it it wasn't crazy, but yeah. So I got six there and missed out on an opportunity. I did win 3,300 and at 2.5.
Okay.
I got third place in the super
Oh, I
on
didn't know
global.
about that. What?
Yeah. Oh my
Oh,
god.
for those who don't
I
know,
was
the
like, wow.
super.
I was saying for those of you who don't know, I've won it once, but I've just lost so much money in that tournament, and it was my third straight cash in it, and I got third place. It was my second time ever making top three, and Jason Hoffman actually won it.
Oh, I
But
did. Oh, what's up?
yeah,
Congrats,
I was
Jason.
saying like, yeah,
That's my
he
baby. Like I've won that tournament, I think 6 or 7
I
times.
I know, I
That's
know, and
awesome.
anyway, so I won over 8,100 on the day. Had a very small win yesterday, and we're at today. I took off as we're recording on Wednesday. I will be recording the day it comes out on Thursday. So I'm at 26,400 exactly from
Hey,
10K, and
you're off
that's
to a good
good.
start,
I
dude.
mean
Yeah. You were down to like
that is a
8K to
really good
start.
start.
Now you're up here. Yeah, dude. I'm hyped for you. I mean, this is the direction we want to see you going. So today's episode I'm really hyped about because it's the start of our WSOP prep series. Um,
It is.
we did this last year. If you guys want to, double up on the prep, you can always go back and listen to last year's content because it definitely still is very valid in, today's
Yeah,
poker strategy, economy, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. Pretty
Anyways,
much the same game.
yeah, it's pretty much the same game, not far from. But before we get into the WSOP prep, I do want to give a big shout out to our prior guest, Angela Jordison, who shipped
Yeah.
MSPT Grand Falls.
Oh
Was
my
it?
God. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
92K. Made a small
Yeah.
ICM chop heads up, and that's two MSPTs in 1 year. So coincidentally,
Congrats.
both after she joined our podcast, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations to Angela. Um,
That's so
She,
sick.
yeah,
Just a crusher.
yeah, she's a crusher.
If you guys
I
haven't
played with
checked
her
it
on
out,
both day one and day two,
if
but
you guys, yeah, if you guys aren't familiar, check out our interview with Angela Jordison from sometime in 2024 back there, maybe a year or so ago.
it was about
She's
a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, absolute crusher. Go check her out. But I guess without further, oh, you know what? One more thing. We have some merch on the way here, and we do want to give it away. We got a little Tilted Compass Suited Kings collaboration happening.
Yeah. It's finally happening.
It's finally happening. It's being produced right now. So if you are interested in winning a free uh Tilted Compass Suited Kings hoodie, stick around to the end of the episode. You know, if you're a regular listener, we usually do a guess that hand segment where one of us will bring a hand to the table and the other has to guess it within three guesses. This time, Wes was like, "Hey, let's give some merch away and have our listeners guess." So, at the end of the episode, we're going to go over a hand. If you can join our Discord, our private messages on Discord, however you want to go about it. Um, and then tell us what you think the hand is, and whoever gets it right first, we're gonna send out some a hoodie too. So
Yeah. And you only get one guess. Whoever gets it first is the winner. So
yeah, do we
we'll
want to
do
count
that at the
suits
end
or
of the I will talk about that at the time.
okay? Because
If
you
the
were
suits
bringing the
are
hand to the
relevant,
table.
yes. If the suits or suit is not relevant or are not relevant, then no. And
Okay,
it'll make sense when if someone gets the right hand. But um without further ado, yeah, let's hop into the WSOP prep. And I think today we want to start with how to start off a tournament. And I think before we even get to the tournament itself, we're going to talk a bit about like just going in, feeling good going in and having the right mindset. And then we're going to talk some early stage um, tournament stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, I think
Max, you usually take like 5 tequila shots before a poker tournament, right?
it's been a little bit more recently, maybe 6 to 7, but
Okay.
no, I know I don't drink ever before a poker tournament, but
Yeah.
might not be a bad idea. But yeah, so as for the WSOP prep, before we get into the content, our goal is to, just like last year, kind of prep you guys to have a successful summer. We're going to start with early stage tournament play, leading all the way to the end game, to where, final table. We're going to start, so early tournament, middle tournament, bubble, final table play, and then heads up play. And then we actually have a finale that we're going to bring in, where we're going to bring in a ton of special guests and have an awesome episode. I'm not going to spoil that too much, but we're really looking forward to that. So, um, yeah, let's get into the early stage tournament stuff here, Wes.
Yeah. So
Let's hear you. What
go
do
ahead.
you
Go ahead.
do? What do you do when it comes to the World Series of Poker? I feel like you might be a little bit different than most, as you sleep forever.
um yeah, I mean basically what I tend to do is like I want to at least take a walk. I want to get some food in me and maybe it's not a walk, but maybe I'm just like stretching out. I want to like move my body at least a little bit. I'm not like, you know, obviously, we're out at the World Series together. I'm not like bringing in a home gym or something like that. But I think just anything that sort of wakes your mind up or focuses your mind,
And what
I
is
should
that for
say.
you? What do you do to kind of prepare
It,
yourself? And then
I
I'll discuss what I do.
Yeah, I think walks for me are usually the biggest thing. Kind of just like zoning out the world and just like maybe I have some music on or whatever, but
Do you think about poker on your walks? Or are you just clearing your mind completely of that and then going in fresh?
yeah, it's not so much about thinking about poker even. Um it's just like yeah, getting, feeling a little bit relaxed um and having making sure my mind is feeling good and not distracted. So
Okay.
um yeah, nothing big, but like you've seen, I think we've been to enough places where like sometimes I'll just sort of take a walk or like
Yeah,
I think at Riverside once I
it's
just
very consistent. Every time we've traveled together, you've always gone out and taken walks, and I'm like, all right, I'll see you there. You know what I mean?
yep.
Like, Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's definitely a normal for you. What else do you do? I
Yeah.
mean,
What about you?
well,
Oh yeah.
go ahead.
So I guess the only other thing is, I don't want to start on an empty stomach, but I also don't want to overeat. Like I think
That's huge.
it's best. Yeah, I think if you overeat, and this is actually, we'll talk more about this in the later stages of tournaments, but if you get to a dinner break at the WSOP, there were a couple tournaments a few years ago where I remember I had like a nice dinner. I don't remember what I had, but I had a good amount of food. And I felt like I made a mistake, not like massive punt or anything, but I felt like soon after the dinner break, I made kind of lazy plays that led to me busting out. And so I think it's also important to make sure, and same when you start off a tournament, don't feel like you just ate a big meal or something. Make sure you have energy, but that you're not like about to hit a food
Complacent.
coma.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super huge, and I've experienced that many times. I mean, not I've never fasted per se in
Yeah.
my life, but I've listened to a lot of people who have, and they talk about, and I'm not telling people to fast before they play a poker tournament, but I'm just saying the importance of like having like not being overly full is it gives you more clarity in your thought process. Whereas when you're full, you can get a little bit comfortable, you can get a little tired, you can't to which then all of a sudden you're missing small details that can help you come to a better decision when you need to make a very important decision. So, I mean, for me, to be honest with you, I make mistakes, obviously, when it comes to eating. Sometimes I'll eat a big meal. Say it's Canterbury Park and there's a tournament in the morning. Sometimes I'll go and get the Canterbury breakfast. It's like eggs,
Yeah.
uh, eggs, toast, potatoes, or hash browns, or whatever. And then I find myself sitting there. I'm like, why did I do that? Like a granola bar, some yogurt, something like that would be far better for me because then I don't know, I can just have a clear thought process going through it, in my opinion. So don't starve yourself, but don't
Mm,
overeat, I guess is kind of a good takeaway from
yeah. Yeah. No,
that.
absolutely. And yeah, I think we can like talk a little bit about early, first few levels of the tournament now. What are what are some things that you're going to be doing that might be different than other people, or what are things you're doing earlier in the tournament that you aren't doing later on that you think give you an edge?
Well, I wouldn't say it's things that I'm not doing later on, but the first things that I'm doing, because let me explain what I'm thinking here. So, when I sit down at a table, the first thing I'm doing is not just entering pots and trying to win chips. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm thinking. I don't go into tournaments with a strategy out of the gate. What I
Yep.
do is I go into the table, I sit down, and before, unless I get dealt some pretty good premiums out of the way, I'm typically not playing many hands, and I'm just paying attention to what all the opponents at the table are doing. And then I start developing a strategy there from what I think would be optimal against those opponents. So I'm adapting every single time I sit down or get a table change. I'm adapting to all of the different opponent types from that table. So it'll be different at every time. Every time I enter a tournament, my strategy will be different. It will never be the same.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
kind
think
of
that's well said.
yeah, so that's kind of where I take it. And then once I start, if I feel like a lot of the opponents at the table are soft, I might start. Here's the thing: is soft doesn't mean you know anything specific. It might mean they're not skilled enough. But what you should pay attention to is whether they're sticky, whether they're over folding, whether they're bluffing a lot, whether or their bet sizings, if they're playing premiums, if they're betting premiums bigger than their non-premiums. Those are the things you
Hmm.
want to pay attention to immediately so that you can start exploiting them, especially in fields where any sort of WSOP field where there's just a ton of amateurs and recs, especially in the 1500 and under range, right? So just pay attention to those things and then start adjusting your strategy based on that. Do you align with that, or what do you do as you sit down?
Yes and no. Like that's not what my answer would have been, but I also agree with it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, my thing that I think I would do. So here's the real truth is like there's not you shouldn't really play differently, but the fact that a lot of other people, mostly amateurs, like a lot of people play differently early versus late. So you should actually play differently just to exploit that, you know? And so like most players, most amateurs, I think are very splashy early on. It's like they will
They call a lot. Is
they
what.
call a lot, they're
Yeah.
loose, pretty passive, and they tend to view bets as a percentage of their stack rather than like a percentage of the pot or a amount of big blinds. So let's say we have 40K starting stack and the blinds are 100, 100. So 400 bigs, like,
So many bigs.
yeah, it's so many bigs. And, you know, if you have, you know, a pot of 1K and someone overbets it to 2K, people will be very willing to call that because it's still just 2K, you know. And there is some truth to it. It's like, okay, yeah, it won't hurt your tournament that much to lose this pot, but it also won't help you that much to win it. So you should just look at the fact that, oh, he bet 2x pot. Like I want to think of what that means in my head.
Yeah.
People will be way more willing to just call bets. They want to see cards. They want to, I mean, truthfully, there's a little bit of it that's like people want to gamble a little bit. They want to have fun.
Especially early in
And
tournaments when they haven't got to, a lot of these at Rex are going to, they're going to play and enjoy the experience where like they want to
yeah,
get in the mix, they want to play and they're not paying
yeah,
attention to being balanced. You know what I mean? Like I think
totally.
that's a great place to start exploiting these players. While there might be a couple of really good players at the table paying attention to that, um, just be aware of that. I think is the most important thing. So if you're in a pot with them, remember prior instances where you're betting bigger, to exploit other opponents versus them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is you don't need to try and run these players over. Like I
Especially
think
early.
sometimes, yeah, right, early specifically, because I think sometimes some otherwise quite good players will make the mistake of like kind of also doing the same thing where like it's early in the tournament. I'm gonna, you know, go for these like super gangster triple barrel bluffs and it's gonna look cool and oh, I can't believe they called. And it's like
Yeah, all of a sudden you get called by second pair by some guy who's just wearing a
he
cowboy
just
hat and he
it's like
just
yeah, he just like beats you in the pot. He just flicks out a chip and it's almost like he even like thinks he's gonna lose the pot, but he just doesn't want to fold. And you're like, oh, why didn't that work? And it's like,
he's not thinking about pot odds. He's thinking about, I got second pair. I want to see what this guy has.
yeah,
There's the thought process. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like I don't want to be pushed around, you
Yeah.
know?
And you'll see a lot of that stuff at the World Series specifically. So, just be careful with that stuff. Don't, I guess a big takeaway from what we're mentioning right now is don't run big bluffs early in the tournament. It's not as worth it. I think I think those big bluffs are more valuable later in the tournament when those chips are a lot more valuable in terms of ICM.
Yes, 100% agree. And so on the flip side of that, um, that means, well, if I'm not running these big bluffs, will my, you know, I'm not balanced. Will my value bets get called? And it's like, yeah, a lot of the amateurs are just not paying attention. And keep in mind, we're talking to the players, most of the players who are listening, we're talking about the lower stake, like the 1Ks, the 500s, the weekend 1500, you know, the big tournaments that get a lot of
And
amateurs.
and even the main event sometimes. But
The main
it's a
event.
little bit different, but that's yeah.
Yeah.
The main event's a
Um,
different bird.
and yeah, totally agreed. And so what I would say is, yeah, then just like wait for your big hands and bet, you know, three bet kings big. Go for value. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you can go for thinner value and you can go for bigger value. I think at least relative to the pot size. Like you'd be surprised that like
Yeah.
the
Take
pot's
top pair shitty
8K.
kicker and start betting, 3/4 pod as for value.
Yeah, yeah, like whatever the situation dictates. That is sort of what you how you want to go about it.
Okay.
Do
Let
you
me
have anything
pause
more to
you.
add?
I just want to pause you. For anyone who's listening to this, if you can hear any background noise, I do apologize. I am in a hotel room at the moment. So, and I'm not far from the door actually. So I apologize. As for adding to that, I feel like there's infinite things I could add to that. But yeah, the biggest takeaways I think that we can get from this is bet big for value. Try and just get as many chips as you can early because this will help you in later stages in the tournament. Specifically, like when you start getting towards the bubble, the bigger your stack, the more chips you can make towards that. And we'll have more episodes, obviously detailing bubble play in the series. So,
Yeah.
what about you? What are some takeaways from you on that?
Yeah. Go for value.
Don't bluff a lot.
Don't yeah, don't run big bluffs. Like sure, take a C bet stab on a flop if it's a good
Yeah.
board for your
Yeah.
range or whatever. But
And if you have, as I say, a conviction play or whatever, so you have a gut feeling that a bet is just going to take it down this river, listen to your gut in that spot. I think that's a good play, but you got to be careful with that too. Don't just think it's hard to explain gut, your intuitive feelings, right? You really have to have a strong feeling. But anyways, don't run big bluffs unless you really think it's going to work and you have them ranged on something. Especially pay attention to how frequently they're calling. Like if they're sticky, don't bluff those people.
mhm,
So
yeah, totally.
easy.
And so the next thing I wanted to bring up was how does this maybe change your pre-flop ranges and what those should look like a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you want to
and
start
I was
or?
actually yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got some charts pulled up, and it's more just a reference point of like, okay, so let's say I was actually going over this with a student. 100 big blinds versus 25 big blinds under the gun. Like, what are the main differences? 100 big blinds, you want to open, like, you can open all pocket pairs. You can open suited connectors down to like 5-6 suited. You can open, yeah, like 10-8 suited, but you want to fold. I mean, you can open, but you also sometimes want to fold stuff like king jack off, queen jack off, ace 10 off, king 8 suited, king 7 suited, you want to fold.
I think
Whereas if you're,
can I pause you for a quick second?
go for it.
The hands that you're mentioning there, like Queen Jack off under the gun, a lot of specifically like King Jack and Queen Jack off under the gun, like you everybody wants to open that because it's a
Mhm.
pretty hand. But when you're under the gun, any action you're getting behind you when there's 8 or 9 players behind you at that point are going to be calling you with hands that dominate you, where you're going to end up finding yourself in spots that just you're going to lose chips frequently. So that's kind of hands why we want to fold these hands.
Yeah, and it's like, and yeah, but then again, when you have 25 big blinds, you actually want to open like king 10, king jack, queen jack, ace 10,
Under the
king
gun?
7 suited, king 8 suited. Yep.
Interesting.
Um
Okay. That's news to me.
yeah, and then you want to always fold the small pairs and the small suited connectors. And the reason is when you're short on chips, big cards, good. That's what you want to think. Like
Easy
it,
enough.
it goes to reverse implied odds versus implied odds. Like small pairs and small suited connectors have a lot of implied odds, which means they're not going to win hands as frequently, but they can make these hands that just crush pocket aces or kings, right? So, and when that's the case, you want to have a lot of big blinds you can win. Or the other way to think about it is you want to risk a very small percentage of your stack to play those hands. So when you
Now,
have 100 bigs
can I make
and
an
you're
argument to
risking two
that?
blinds. Yeah.
So I'm concerned for newer players taking that advice. And the reason is because a lot of newer players who are opening those type of hands don't know how to play post flop correctly. So I feel like, do you see what I'm saying? I just feel like
Like the suited 6-7 suited.
6-7 suited, king 10 off on 20 big blind stacks. Like you're saying how you said you should open those on the shortest stack because big cards are good. I agree
Mhm.
with you. However, I feel like if you end up whiffing, you say you get heads up into a big blind defense, you open under gun big blind defense, you get a flop, you open king 10 and you completely whiff. Do we start double barreling these? Do we start triple barreling
Mhm.
here? Do we just see bet? Do we not see bet? Do we check? Like I feel like a lot of players aren't knowing what the correct play is after the flop, where they might find
Well,
themselves in trouble.
that is true. Um, I guess what I'd say also is like if you're a newer player, you're probably like if you're a brand new amateur, you're just going to be losing in all of these tournaments most likely. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, you're right.
I guess I'm trying to cater it towards like the pretty experienced players that aren't pros who like have a decent idea but want some sort of like guidance on the starting point, where it's like these hands play better when you have a ton of big blinds. of course, assuming if you know how to play them well, if you're going to get full value um, when you flop two pair versus like ace 6 5 and you have 5 6 suited, or you know,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, pre-flop, that's kind of the main thing there. When you have a hand like king jack off or king 10 off or ace 10 off, kind of like, or exactly like what you said. The There's going to be a lot of reverse implied odds where, oh, if you see a hand six ways and you have king 10 off and you flop a king, like you're not really going to know, you're not going to have a lot of clarity. And if a lot of money goes in, it might be because you're behind. Whereas if you have 20 bigs, it's like there just aren't that many blinds. So it's, flopping top pair on its own is good enough for 20 big blinds a lot of the
Do
time.
you think it's more regarding amateur players? Do you think it's better, say they're on 20 big blinds, which a
Mm-hmm.
lot of players will find them space, not typically in early stage tournaments, which we are saying, but sometimes,
Eventually, though, yeah.
but even in early stage tournaments, you get down to 20 big blinds sometimes. Are we wanting to open hands, or are we just wanting to wait for premiums to three bet jam or just open jam? Do you think, I feel like for amateurs, it's almost better for them to just, I mean, it might not be theoretically correct, but it might be better for them to three bet jam so they're not getting exploited. Um, but waiting for premium hands to do it with, obviously.
I
Your
guess I would
thoughts on?
say like maybe, but also if you're waiting, if you're folding hands that you could be opening, you are being exploited just in the nature of you're folding profitable hands, you know?
That's a great point.
Um, yeah, yeah, if you're not just a first timer, but like if you're, yeah, if you're like a very new to the game amateur, like, po- heck, I mean, poker is tough for everybody, you know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be,
Let's step away from the 20 bigs and get back to the 100 big
yes.
blinds stuff
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
where we're mostly going to be. What kind of hands should we be flatting against openers on those kind of
Let's
stacks?
let's say under the gun opens,
Yeah.
and then
Or yeah, any
yeah, I
early
mean,
position.
yeah, so this is where you can actually go both ways. Like if you look at charts, a lot of times it'll say there are a ton of hands that you can call or three bet. So for example, that could mean a lot of the suited aces, it could mean the suited broadways, the suited connectors, and then like the suited king nine suited, jack nine suited,
Suited kings, right?
10 8 suited. Yeah, right. Um, and pocket pairs. Like it kind of, the interesting thing is you can kind of go both ways with a lot of hands.
Yeah.
Um, you definitely want to three bet like aces, kings, ace, king, at least ace, king suited.
Yeah.
There was a hand from one of our first episodes from my gladiator run where I flatted ace, king off versus under the gun raise. And it worked out well. Like these, I would say, you know, when you're deep, 100 big blinds, it's kind of the stuff that's logical, like pocket pairs, suited connectors, suited broadways, suited aces, and then like the ace king, ace queen, king queen, ace jack offsuit, all that type of stuff. You can sort of go either way with it, and
Flatter
just
three bet, you mean?
yeah, flat or three bet, and then the later position you get into, the wider you can. So if under the gun opens and you're in the low jack, you want to be pretty tight. If you're on the button, maybe you call more suited kings. Like you just loosen up more. You can call like 9 7 suited, 8 6 suited, king jack off.
Can you explain why we want to call with these high suited hands? With for the obvious reasons, obviously, but like what is it about those hands when you're super deep that makes it important?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't even know if the high suited hands, if it's about being deep, but it's just like you, if you three bet, and you can three bet most of these hands too. Like, I guess the way I would look at it more is if you think your opponent is very aggressive and someone who's going to four bet you very frequently, lean more towards calling with hands that you would have to fold to a four bet.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I guess the what I was looking for there is just the hands we want to be flatting are hands that can make the nuts more frequently.
yeah, but I would say that's like not it's that would be too restrictive maybe because you can still call like the depending on your position, like the jack eight suited, the ace jack off,
For
like
sure, for sure.
I would just say like generally decent seeming hands, you
Dude,
know.
I'm a nit, Wes. You know this.
It's interesting. So, some ways you are, so, and then sometimes I'll just see you blast too.
I'm balanced.
Yeah. Um,
I,
and
I let me implore our audience, especially players who are, don't don't feel like they're only three betting premiums, right? I would like to
mhm,
I would like to see you guys three bet more hands, like ace jack offsuit, and
queen nine
maybe
suited,
queen
you
nine
know.
suited, yeah, and then maybe flat like ace jack suited, where they play better post flop, where hands like ace jack off doesn't play as good post flop. So um, you're just going to win the pot more frequently when you three bet, because now you have the betting position, right? You're going to be taking yeah, you're going to be the
Yeah,
one who's c betting instead of folding to the c bet.
definitely. You know what else I've actually noticed, and this may even be true of me. Um, I think a lot of people three bet too small.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because like I think a normal three bet size, let's say someone opens 2.2, 2.3, 2.5x, and you're 100 bigs deep. Even when you're in position, you want to three bet to like eight bigs, seven and a half, eight bigs, something like that. If you go to like six or five
So
and a
over
half,
3x the original raise is what you're saying?
yeah, definitely over 3x when you're this deep, and then it can be closer to 3x or even 2.5x the shorter you get
Okay.
relatively. And then if you're out of position, go like I would say 4.5 or 5x.
Okay.
When you're 100 bigs deep, like definitely put them in an uncomfortable spot where they can't just like easily call with, I played, and granted, this was a cash game, but like this guy was just three betting to 3x out of position. So I'm like, I have to call with king 10 off, I guess. You want to, you want to be able to get fold equity. Um, so that it is profitable to three bet hands like the queen nine suited,
Oh, that hand is so pretty.
what
uh,
what I'm thinking of spades specifically, but
hearts for me.
okay.
Not that it matters at all. I know you like, I mean, spades is the best suit, but anyways, um,
About a year ago we had an episode where we talked about colors and suits and stuff, and
it made no logical
I
sense at
think that
all.
was when you said that ace there's always an ace, a jack, or a four.
Yeah, I love that. And then we had someone at the home game, Clyde, I think his name
Yeah,
was.
literally
Uh,
last.
yeah, he named his screen name on Clubs Poker. Always play AJ4.
Yep.
Dude,
Yeah,
we love you, brother. Thanks for listening. That's incredible. I love
seriously,
that.
I forgot what his actual name was, but
I, I think it's Clyde in Discord. Anyways, maybe I'm wrong.
okay.
Anyways, love to see that. That's awesome. Let's talk about set mining, my favorite.
Yeah,
I love set mining. Dude, even on 20 big, I mean, it's not good to set mine on 20
pocket
bigs,
fours,
guys.
always pocket
Always
fours.
pocket force. No, but when you're 100 big blinds deep, implied value is super important because you can just win massive pots, especially when
Mhm.
you flop a set. What kind of pocket pairs are you flatting to
All.
early position raises? Yeah, all the way to deuces.
I
Yeah.
mean, I guess like if my opponent, even if I'm in, let's say I'm in early position and I face a three bet, I am flatting all like any pocket pair I
If you
opened, I'm
open
gonna
in early
call.
position, you're saying,
Yeah,
and then
pretty
you got
much.
three bet.
I'm yeah. Now to be clear, I'm not gonna cold call a three bet. So if there's a raise and a three bet in front of me, I'm not gonna call any pocket pair then. But if I raise or if I call a raise and then there's a three bet,
Yeah. So
unless it's huge,
you've already
I'm
V-pipped. You've already put chips in the pot voluntarily.
yeah, and I can close the action.
Yeah. Closing the
Um,
action is huge, you guys. Got to pay attention to that, because if say under the gun opens and then someone in middle position three bets and then you're on the button with pocket fives, fours you're cold calling. No, I'm just kidding. But
I mean, don't
say
you want to just go all in with fours because you
it,
know you're hitting a
it's just
set?
always in a set. But anyways, without getting too distracted. And so under the gun opens, someone in middle position, three bets. You should be folding. You shouldn't be set mine there. One of the main reasons is because under the gun, you don't close the action. Under the gun can now four bet,
Hmm.
right? So the action doesn't close, and then you'll end up oftentimes just having to fold and punt those chips away. So one reason why you don't want to cold call, and that's what cold calling is essentially for those who aren't aware. But But say you were the under the gun opener, middle position, three bets, and then it's back on you with a pair. You're going to just be calling all pairs when you're 100 big blinds deep for the implied value of hitting a set and stacking aces or kings or ace king on a king high flop. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
I love set mining. Fuck, I love
Yeah.
set mining.
Yeah. And what's funny is like, even unless you have aces or kings, like even queens, especially if you're in early position and you get three bet, you don't even necessarily want to four bet all the time. Like you can just call with queen. You can treat queens like you would treat eights, and it's just a better pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've heard, and this is a little old school way to think about it, but it's kind of true. Daniel Negreanu was talking once about how people just hate jacks, and he's like, okay, well, okay, if you're short, you can three bet jam it or just jam it or whatever. But if you're deep, like just play jacks like you would play pocket eights. Like if you don't want to get it in pre, just treat it like another middle pocket pair. Except that then you compare it to those hands and you're like, oh, this is actually better because sometimes I don't even need to hit a set. But I
That's
think people,
yeah. That's a great mental hack because people
yeah,
get scared with jacks when they shouldn't.
people are like, oh, this is a premium hand. I'm supposed to win. But then
Yeah.
they still don't a decent amount of the time. And it's
Yeah.
like
And then all their chips
frustrating.
are in the middle. You know what I mean? When they're 100
Right. And
bigs
then they
deep.
they still aren't folding even though they should have. Or it's like when you have aces on a four flush board without the flush, it's like, no, you don't like the hand is only as strong as there's relative strength,
Yeah. I think
and
that's a great way, mental kind of hack, as I said, to for people because you see it all the time, Wes, especially the World Series of Poker. Like I hate jacks, they always lose, but then they're all of a sudden just playing up massive pots with them because they're afraid they're going to lose with them. When
yeah, they're being too aggressive.
yeah, yeah, and you
Yeah.
don't need and you just don't need to do that. Like Wes said, play them like they're pocket eights, and when you're 100 big blinds deep, you don't want to get that many in. Even so, yeah, I'm not gonna go. I could go on rants for this forever, but
No, of course, of course.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so even when you're 100 big, I think that's a good point too, is like especially from early position, you don't need to be four betting queens or jack. Like keep it simple with aces, kings, maybe ace king suited. Like
yeah.
um you can just like play small ball, and then if you make a big hand, just try and then you play a big pot. But um
Well said. Well said. How are your what are your thoughts on rebuys early in tournaments, and does it affect your strategy at all if you have rebuys loaded up?
um no, it doesn't affect my strategy at all. Every buy-in's a tournament. And the night actually, one thing I do like about the WSOP specifically is a lot of their tournaments only allow one rebuy. So if that's the case, I'll always be willing to do it. But I think the biggest thing is go in with a plan and stick to it, because you want the decision to rebuy to not be an emotional, like in the moment emotional decision, like oh fuck that, I just like got two outed and oh I should have this many chips, and then you like storm over and rebuy, and then you're just in this bad mood when you get back
Ooh,
to the your new table.
that gave me
Uh,
another thought we'll cover after this. Continue. Continue.
yeah, yeah, keep that in your mind.
Yep.
I would also say like I guess if you're going to make if you feel a little tilty after you bust, like that's when I might take a walk, or really decide like, do I feel fully like firing this thing again? But
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say for the most part, just so for a good example is a lot of people who are going to go out for a week or so for the World Series. They might go to the monster stack where there's only one buy-in per day, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe the Colossus, maybe the Millie Maker, maybe the Gladiator. And these are all tournaments where there are like four starting flights, and you can buy in like three or four times per flight, basically. Maybe it's three for some of them,
I
two for some of them.
something like that. Yeah.
Anyways, so let's say it's three, just so you could go out and have a tournament where if you get there for the first day one, you could theoretically fire 12 times. Um, but you kind of want to go in with a plan. Like let's say there's day ones on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for a tournament you're going to play. And let's say you get there and you want to play Wednesday. have an idea of like, okay, if I'm budgeting, you know, 4 buy-ins for myself, I'll play this one maybe. And I think you and I talked about this on the podcast somewhat recently, where it's like, I'm going to play just the one bullet today and one tomorrow. And like, if you have 4, maybe it's just one per day, you know?
Yeah, don't feel the need to
And
just rush them
if
all out the
you are
door.
planning that, yeah. And it's the sort of thing where it's like, well, maybe if let's say you get there and there are 3 day ones left and you're willing to fire 5 or 6 times. And let's say you bust on the first flight. Well, it still doesn't mean you need to rebuy. Like maybe if you rebuy, you'd only have 20 or 15 big blinds anyways. And you're like, let's start fresh tomorrow. And if I bust by level 7, then I'll rebuy. But otherwise, I want to start with a real stack
Yep.
type of thing. And then like going into MSPTs, even this last weekend, like that was I was gonna fire up to 4 times.
Nice run, by the way.
Thank you.
Got
Thank you.
31st out of 500 or something like that.
Yep, 31st.
Well done.
And thank you. So my first buy-in, I lost pretty quickly, and I rebought right away because I knew I was willing to fire twice on day 1A, unless I was buying in for under 20 big blinds, is what I figured. And at the time, it was, starting stack 30K and the big blind was 800. So I had, 37 and a half. But, and otherwise I was just going to wait and start fresh on Saturday. But
Yeah.
I got through with the second bullet. So
I think having that discipline is super important.
yeah, like having it in your mind and then actually sticking to it.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been guilty of busting a bullet, saying I'm not going to fire a second bullet that day, specifically like under 20 big blinds. And then I do it anyways. And that's a leak, in my opinion. I'm not playing at the best of my abilities at that point. I lied to myself also.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good if you do something like that. And
Yeah.
I think I've been there too, where it's like, yeah, you need to make the decision when you're not in the heat of the moment is maybe the way to think
Take a
about
walk.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So, what I was going to mention, Wes, and I think this is, and let me know what thoughts you have regarding it, but early stage leaks,
Mm.
things that opponents do that, um, are that maybe that all of us have done at once upon a time or still do that we can get rid of immediately that will immediately improve our results. And I think the first one I want to say is the mental leak of being under starting stack.
Ooh, that is a good one.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? So you
Yeah.
start with
So,
say you start with 20K, you lose a couple pots, you're at 17 and a half, and all of a sudden you have this desire to get back over starting so you can feel good again. That is not how you should be thinking about poker at any point. Because then all of a sudden you're going to start playing pots that you shouldn't to try and accumulate chips to get over to that point, which means absolute arbitrary number, which means absolutely nothing.
yep, 100%. That's a really good one. I actually think I told this story on maybe on the podcast, maybe not. Hopefully, the guy, I don't know. Even if the guy who made this play is listening, he probably doesn't even remember it. But there's this one of the like 250s at Canterbury, maybe it was. Um, Starting stack was like 20K. I think this was like in 2019 or something. I saw someone call off a 3-bet jam for 17 big blinds with 10-9 offsuit. And, he had starting stack was 20K. I think he had big blind was 6K or sorry, 600. So yeah, he had like just over 10K in his stack. So he had like half starting stack, and surprise, surprise, he ended up losing.
And
His
it
cards
cost
were
him hundreds
live.
of dollars.
Yeah, it did. And as he walked away from the table, he's like, well, I had to make something happen. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, you did make something happen, but
Yeah.
you also just
I mean, that's an extreme example. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are going to be calling off with 9-10 off, but what I mean so
totally.
much is like what I'll see most frequently is people just start calling, 9-10 off, not calling all in 9-10 off, but just start calling 9-10 off to an early position open. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
flopping second pair, losing a couple bets on the street, and then leaking their stack even more. And then all of a sudden you're down, to 5K from your 20K starting stack, and you're in shambles just because you wanted to get back up and over.
Yeah. I think that's a great example. And it's not what I was gonna say for my first one, but like I think that's perfect. Like you don't want to the starting stack thing doesn't really matter. And also I would extend that to say like keeping up with what the average stack is or
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
being up stuck. Like let's say it's, you go from 20 to 40 and then you're down to 25 again. It's like it's easy to think, oh God, I
I'm
was
not
just
at my
there. Like
peak.
I need to get back there. Yeah.
Don't ever, because
Um,
you're always going to be under your peak most of the tournament. And if you're going to always try and fight to be at your peak, you're going to punt. So just
yes.
what you need to do, and this is to combat all the things we've just been talking about, is don't look at your stack as how many chips you have relative to where you're at or where you started, but as to how many big blinds you are, how many big blinds you have, and how to play optimally with that amount of big blinds.
Yep.
And that's it. It's as simple as that. One of my
Yeah.
favorite things about playing online compared to live is that I can change my stack straight to big blinds. And now I don't even know when
It
I'm
can
under
show you.
start.
Yeah.
I never know when I'm under starting stack. I don't even have to have that thought process. You know what I mean? I might have less big blinds than other players,
Yes.
but my goal isn't to have more big blinds. I mean, it's just to have all of them at the very end. So what I do is
Yes.
I just play optimally for what I have in that moment.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to
It's,
say it.
it's simple.
And my example of a leak, which we've already talked about, is playing too loose, playing too many hands pre-flop, especially in tournaments, or sorry, especially early on,
Mhm.
and also just playing too loose in general. Um, and sometimes it goes with the leak you mentioned, and sometimes it's just the way people play.
They just want to
I
get in
think
the
it,
action because they're amateurs. You know what I mean? They want to play hands. They don't want to sit there and fold for hours.
yeah, and I think as well is playing differently when it's a rebuy versus a freeze out. Um, if you literally don't care about money, then sure, do what you want. But like if you care about the buy-in, if you want to try and there's a difference between winning and being profitable. Like if you want to be as profitable as possible, play every buy-in as well as you can.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it's difficult and it requires a lot of discipline, but if you want to make the most money playing poker, that's what you have to do.
yeah,
Simple. Don't
but
overcomplicate things. Don't, yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
you're already here listening to this podcast, which means you want to improve your game. So take the advice.
yeah. Or you just like the sound of our voice, which
Yeah.
is kind of weird, but
Anyways,
anyways,
what other leaks do we see amateurs making early on in tournaments?
uh,
I think it's ranging, like calling off pocket pairs for 40, 30 plus big blinds. Like,
putting people on ace king too much.
yeah, putting no,
Yeah,
not even just put him on ace king, but putting him on one hand. I thought, what, I called off
yeah,
because
that's
I
a good
thought you
point.
had this. Don't put an
And
opponent on
and
one hand.
yeah, and I kind of think what people are actually doing when they do that is making an emotional decision and then attempting to justify it with logic, but not really doing the logic. Just saying, like pointing out a hand that they could beat and be like, "Oh, I put you on this,"
I see that.
and
That's so frequent and it's common. It's
yeah,
very common. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one too, though. Is fixating on one hand that you think your opponent has, and look, sometimes, occasionally you'll be right. Sometimes you really can narrow it down, but
In general, I guess is,
yeah, it's more of like a process of elimination type of thing.
don't call
Yeah.
50 bigs with pocket eights and be like, I thought I put you on ace king.
Especially pre-flop, because it's like if someone plays a hand the way they'd play ace king, they'd probably play jacks or queens or tens or kings that way too,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
um any others before we get into the final segment?
No, I think that is all I have. I would like to mention if you guys would like to dig more into any of these topics that we've discussed so far, though, you can reach out to either Wes or I at any point. Twitter, Discord, send us messages, send us your thoughts, send us whatever you
Yeah.
have, and we'll be glad to to chat with you and kind of help you figure out whatever it is. So don't be afraid to send us messages and or talk to us in person either if you see us at a tournament.
Yeah. And join our Discord.
Yeah.
definitely join our Discord.
I mean, it is popping. I love it. I love our Discord because I love how active it is and I love the relationships that people are building. I guess let me reword that. Just the consistency of so many different people bringing so many hands to the table and then so many people coming in to join to give their thought process and help everyone. Everyone's improving each other's games. So if you want to improve your game, it's a great
Yeah.
place.
And there really are players of like all
High
different levels.
caliber. Yeah. Low
High
caliber, high
caliber.
caliber.
There's like wherever you're at in poker, we would love to have you. There's someone who was watching my stream the other day who like had questions and then he just joined. Like he asked me questions on stream and he joined the Discord and I've seen him in the hand history review section already. So I
Yeah.
think that's awesome. Um,
I want to give a big shout out to one specific guy in our Discord, John Coffin. I see him in
yeah,
there all the time, and he is, I mean, he's big on the solver, he's big on the theory of the game, like really deep into that stuff. So I want to give a shout out to John, who I see always in there giving input and trying to improve people's games. And so shout out to you, John.
yeah.
And
No,
there's
I
a,
love that.
and for whoever, I mean, there's a lot of other people I don't. Hopefully, I'll call you. I was just the first one that came to my mind right now, so I'm not trying to
Yeah,
leave anyone
there are a
on.
lot of people who are really active participants. Now let's get to the part of the episode where you guys can participate and potentially win a little merchandise, some Suited Kings sweatshirts. So
Hoodie.
the hoodie. Yep. So first we actually have an announcement and we'll confirm it next week, but we should for the Minnesota Running Aces MSPT, we should actually have Suited Kings hoodies available for sale right there. Our
We've been
friends at
talking about these for so long.
I know. And our friends at Tilted Compass will have our gear mixed in with all the MSPT or Tilted Compass stuff.
Suited compass.
Suited Compass, yeah. So we will actually have those sweatshirts. Max and I will be repping them that
Oh
next
yeah,
week.
dude, I love that. I'm so
But if
excited.
you obviously feel free to buy them. I mean, we love that. But if you'd like a chance to win a free one, here is what you can do. So the last 3 episodes, maybe Max and I have been doing this segment where we play guess the hand, and we do a hand, we describe the hand, and then
And then
the
I
other
tell you what,
person,
and then I tell you
yeah,
what the
and
hand
then
is before
sometimes
you can
Max,
guess. Such
yeah,
an
Max
idiot.
sometimes accidentally tells me what it is, but no, we play guess the hand. So we go through the action, but don't tell each other the hand, and give each other 3 guesses. Now, for the listeners, you guys, you each get 1 guess and 1 guess only. And starting when this episode comes out, everyone gets 1 guess, and the first person to get it correct wins a free hoodie.
Yep.
So, um,
What are the
and message it.
prerequisites?
Yes. Oh, what's that?
What are the prerequisites? There's only one, and it's join our Discord.
Join. You have to join our Discord.
Join our Discord. It's free. There's no cost to it, and you can find a
Yep.
link in the description to join it. Simple as that.
Yep. So, what I'm going to do. Oh man, it's funny because I had the hand picked out, and there's just so many good ones. But here's one I'll pick. Um, this is from an old 5-10 cash game I was playing. And it's actually just, I'm playing heads up against my opponent. Just playing some heads up 5-10. And I am in the big blind, so my opponent's on the button. He raises the 25. I 3-bet to 105, so 10.5 bigs. I face a 4-bet to 25 bigs. And I call.
Before you go into the hand further, I'm going to give a little tip to my opponents. We can do a lot of range deductions at this point. So pay attention. Wes is going to be folding a lot of hands to a 4-bet that he's 3-betting. So the fact that he called the 4-bet eliminates a lot of hands. That's all I'm
And
going
that
to
I
say.
didn't jam also eliminates some stuff too.
Yeah. So we're already narrowing the range of what Wes has here. We're not going to tell you what
Don't
that
help
range
him.
is.
Don't. You're costing us money.
Go ahead.
All right. So flop is King, Queen, Deuce, Rainbow. King of Spades, Queen of Clubs, Deuce of Hearts. So playing in flow, I check. And by the way, he started with 100 bigs. So we're playing 100, $1,000 effective. And there's exactly 500 in the middle, and he has exactly 750 left. So he bets 125, so exactly quarter pot. I call. Pot is now 750. He has 62 or 625. He has 62.5 bigs. Turn is the five of hearts. So it's king of spades, queen of clubs, deuce of hearts, five of hearts. I check, he checks. Look at your smirk. What is this smile you've got?
I got a hand in my head, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think it is after we get off this
Yeah.
episode.
All right. River, king of clubs. So king, queen, deuce, five, king.
And what's
No
the
flush.
SPR?
About it's exactly 5/6. So like 0.83, or
Okay.
there's 750 in the pot, 625 behind.
Okay.
And I put them all in.
All right. All right.
And that's all you need to
I
know.
mean, I love this. This is a great hand because there's enough action for our listeners to start deducing, right?
Narrowing it down.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You don't know if it's bluff or value. Don't know what. And probably know. Yeah, we'll just leave it there, and you and I can chat about it once we get off.
to
But
make the organization of guesses easy for us to see, you can either message us on Discord, message us in Twitter. But you remember you
the
have to
suited
be
kings to
yeah, the Suited Kings Twitter, or on Discord. Or if you end up placing it somewhere in the Discord, you have to at least tag one of us so we can see it.
Mhm.
Just tag our name in there. So yeah, that's simple. All right. That's a good one, Wes. Ooh, a little four bet
All right,
pot.
all right.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think the action is such that like the range is going to be narrow enough that someone could get it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Um, and all right, so let's move on from there. We will have merch available at the Minnesota MSPT. Join our Discord.
Yeah. Links in the
If you
description
like
for
playing
everything.
online poker,
Yeah.
you like playing online poker, use our link and join Clubs Poker. We
Hey,
had another meetup game.
congrats on bubbling the meetup game last night.
Oh, shut up. I fired 4 times into it and I stone bubbled,
Uh,
and yeah, that was
that's
not
I mean,
fun, but it was still fun actually.
that's like that's like my every meetup game. I either win it or I stone
You
bubble it
either
after
win
full
or
bullets.
bubble.
Yeah, it's one of the two. So
Yeah. So we'll have more of those. I will say, so the ring games have always been great there. But the tournaments, they're running some bigger tournaments now, some hundreds, some daily, daily hundreds. They have a 100 sweeps coin, 20 guaranteed on Sundays. So they got some big tournaments going. Um, I know a lot of our listeners lean more towards tournament play. At least that's the impression I get, and probably more of what we talk about.
I'd agree.
But so if you haven't started yet and you enjoy playing online poker, use our link and sign up for clubs. And they've got some really great stuff going, and they're only growing too. They're
Yeah.
less than a year old. So
Let me add on to that a little bit. If you guys want to, with WSOP coming around the corner here, everybody tells me they want to play mixed games at WSP. It's probably your easiest way to win a bracelet because the fields are much smaller. Clubs
good.
Poker
Yep.
Clubs Poker has all of the mixed games, tournaments, and cash, and they have all of them. So it's a great place to just start cutting your teeth and learning those games. And yeah, the link in our description. If you sign up using that link, it will help support the podcast as well, so we can continue bringing you guys content. So make sure to check that link out. If you have not already signed up for Clubs Poker, we'd really appreciate it. And then we'll have our next meetup game 2 weeks from yesterday, which would be what's the date on that, Wes? I'm not
It was
good
the
with that.
25th. So it should be April 8th. And actually, come to think of it, that is
Damn,
during the
you're good.
Minnesota MSPT. Maybe we reschedule it for the following week.
Okay. That's fine. And we'll send updates in our Discord, on our Twitter, all those
Yeah,
places.
maybe we just do it next week.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that too.
Yeah, you didn't get a chance to get your face slapped in.
Yeah, I had to miss last night's meetup game because I was shredding the mountains. So
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. Hell yeah. So Clubs Poker, sign up using the Discord link. We also have our Patreon. If you guys enjoy, learning from Wes and I, how we teach the game, how we talk about the game, we have our Patreon. There's two subscriptions. There's a $5 podcast supporter subscription. If you just want to support us and you enjoy our podcast, we got the $5 option where you can go ahead and just support us. You know what I mean? And then we have the $15 subscription where we release videos every week, strategy videos to help you improve your game. It's going to be one of the cheapest ways for you to learn. Definitely. So make sure to check that out. We will, on our next episode, start listing off all of our current Patreon members, which is part of what you get for joining. So if you would like to hear, a shout out on the podcast, if you join Patreon, you will also get that. So next week we'll give our shout outs when I'm back in the office, that is, and have all my lists and everything. So
Yep.
stay tuned to that. Am I missing anything on that?
No, I think I accidentally made it so there is one training video available for the $5 subscription. So hey, if that's what you think. But I think everyone just wants the $15 one because it's like it's not too much more and you get some decent study content. I just dropped another video last night of me reviewing some old hands I played, and actually most of them I did not like. So that's kind of an interest. I feel like a lot of times I'm kind of nodding along to, okay, I liked it. We'll see. Not sure, but there were a few hands I flat out just did not like how I played. So,
One of the biggest things to improving your game, and then this is to anyone, not yours specifically, Wes, is admitting when you make mistakes. So being
mhm.
able to review a hand and not just, showing us just, knocking players out with aces. Like it's not nothing like that.
Yes.
It's learning from our mistakes. That's where improvement is comes. So make sure to check that out. Yeah, and I think I think that's it. Yeah. Looking forward to
That's it.
that tilted compass suited kings hoodies, man. You're going to be rocking that. So
Yeah. Oh, follow me on Twitch, the Poker Cannon, if you want to watch my
bankroll
10K to
challenge.
100K journey.
Yeah,
So
you're currently at 28K, you said?
26.4.
26.4K, man. You've been slapping him around. Guys, if you want to watch Wes and learn, that's another great way to learn too. He talks through all of his hand as he, plays these hands. So
Yeah,
make
get
sure to
in
check
the
it
and
out.
if I don't, like, get in the chat and ask me because I actually enjoy I really do enjoy like answering questions. Even though I have like 6 or 7 tables going, like I will give you a thought out answer if you have a
Cool.
question in the chat. So
Cool, man. Well, Wes, I'm gonna get back to my vacation here. I hope you enjoy the grind for through the weekend, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. See you guys later.